The future of an initiative petition that would put a bond issue on the ballot to fund school safe rooms is in the hands of the Oklahoma Supreme Court. The group Take Shelter Oklahoma objects to the way the ballot title was written by the state attorney general's office and wants more time to gather signatures. Kate Carlton, reporter for the Oklahoma Tornado Project, was in the courtroom for the oral arguments. Kate, what does the initiative petition hope to do?
Well, ideally, they want to fund a $500 million bond issue from the state franchise tax, which is a sliding scale business tax, and they want to use that money, Take Shelter does, to build safe rooms in schools across the state. And so it will give local control while still providing a method of funding.
What is in dispute?
The ballot title, which the ballot title is 200 words that the voters see when they go to the polls. And so what happens is it's basically a description of what they're voting for, yes or no. And when Take Shelter submitted the original ballot title, they argued that it was legally correct. So the Attorney General didn't have any reason to rewrite it, but he did.
And changed the thrust, according to Take Shelter, of the ballot title.
Right, that's exactly right. So what Take Shelter is accusing the Attorney General of doing is mentioning the state franchise tax 4 times within the 200 words. And so that takes up a lot of valuable space. And Take Shelter is saying that that could scare off voters, that could make them say no because it's got a scary tax word in it. And instead of using that extra time, they had to take off valuable clauses that Take Shelter felt were important.
Such as?
Well, one of them involves a reimbursement clause. So it says if school districts built safe rooms a few years before this was passed, they still have an opportunity to be reimbursed via the bond. And so that in the new version that Scott Pruitt rewrote, it was not there.
What are the arguments put forth by the Attorney General?
Well, the Attorney General says that it is his job to make sure that voters know what will be most important to them. And Scott Pruitt presented this as a financial transaction, which is completely opposite of what Take Shelter wants to do. They understand that it involves the state franchise tax, but to them it's a bigger deal. It involves the safety of the children.
Now, Take Shelter Oklahoma did not get enough signatures.
Right. They came about 30,000 short.
So are they arguing that because the ballot title was confusing or misleading, that's why they didn't get enough signatures, or are those two separate issues?
Well, you know, it's a possibility that they're arguing that. I think they're treading very carefully because they don't want to get themselves into trouble, and it's hard to say that they would be able to gather the 30 extra thousand signatures just if the wording had been theirs. But I think that's definitely where they're leaning.
What is the relief that they are requesting?
Well, right now, the Supreme Court has heard both sides, and Take Shelter is hoping that the Supreme Court will either rewrite an original title, and it will be in the Supreme Court's language, and it will be fair, or they're hoping that they will revert back to Take Shelter's original language, in which case they might get an extra 90 days to gather signatures.
When is a decision expected?
You know, we're not really sure. It could be 2 or 3 weeks, or it could be a few months down the road.
Okay. Kate Carlton from the Oklahoma Tornado Project. Thank you.
Thank you.